Afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited about how many people have already showed up for today's seminar. I see we've got some more coming, so it's amazing. We're going to talk a lot about mindfulness and really specifically for companies. So if you're an executive, HR, you have your own company, if you lead a team, this is going to be some really valuable information for you. And regardless if we ever do anything in the future, I think you're going to get something from today's presentation. So first off, right behind me is Joshua Tree. So this is where I'm living right now. Beautiful spot. I'm not sure how many people have been up here. I was blessed enough this morning actually to go for an amazing trail run through nature. And so I'm ready to go. So let's just jump into it. I'm going to share my screen now for corporate teams. So this is today's presentation. You're at the right spot if mindfulness is part of your life. You already are tuned in, or you wouldn't be here to begin with. You know how important mindfulness is and its far reaching implications to reduce stress, strengthen the resiliency of the people in your team, and also, of course, your team yourself. We're going to be talking about stats also, building team cooperation, increasing productivity. Because let's be honest, in these times, we're going to have to do more with less. You know, we are going to have to outperform. We don't know what's coming, so we want to be on top of our game. So what I like to say is let's get mindful live online. I think it's really important that we connect live with your team members. You know, creates a synergy. There's a natural energy when you're doing something live, and really is about creating mindful tools. We'll talk about that more in the presentation for your team. You know, really building that personal resilience and reducing stress during these challenging times. Releasing blocks that are held in the body and subconscious mind. So we know we hold tension, and also in our subconscious mind, there are blocks. There's reasons why we do things we don't always know because we have blocks. So a lot of things about success for our personal lives is like that old saying, getting out of our own way. And where that is really getting rid of the blocks that we're holding close to us and near to us. You know, of course, we're always looking to improve team communication, cooperativity, and productivity. And this works so well with that. It really is amazing because your team member is going to meet each other at a different level. And really is, again, is I'll keep coming back to mindful new tools. You really want to build their own tool set so that they can unlock and connect to their life's purpose. You know, it's really about having that toolbox so that when they hit the challenges, when they hit the stress that they're under today, they know how to deal with it in a productive way. So first off, let's give a little overview of the offering that we have at Reset. First off is the fundamental workshop. So it's only an hour. It's really concise. What we do is really we start teaching them some basic mindful tools, the reasons behind it, why they work. And then we also, it's amazing we do this all in an hour. The only reason we're able to do this hour is because we have some great support for them. So what we do in hours, we help them build a practice, so their own home mindfulness practice that they can do on their own, so that this workshop is only an hour, but it's far reaching beyond that hour. And then after your group does that 1 hour workshop, then if you choose to, you can move into the series. The mindful series is where, as a group, we've already learned the basics, so we can just jump in and do it really fast. So it's 45-minute sessions, but it's so powerful because, again, we're taking what we've learned and we're applying it. We do it weekly, bi-weekly, on demand. You know, an amazing, creating that consistency is what's going to help them on an individual and team basis. That's when we really get the juice going, is when we bring consistency in the world. And really, you'll find, and I know this from my clients and working with a lot of people, anxiety killer. You know, you're going to really help build retention for your team. And of course, at the end of the day, it is also about productivity itself. So let's actually look at some of the stats. It's pretty amazing. So these are actually numeric track stats. This was studying almost 300 people. Self-reported, there's two parts of it, self-reported and also the KPIs actually that were reported back from the company itself. But 255 out of the 278 participants reported their program had a very valuable personal experience for them. And again, that's anxiety, productivity, bonding, and almost 80% said that, you know, they really saw this beyond themselves. really saw an increase in synergy with the teams and how their departments were working with each other, which is pretty amazing. Just to bring in a mindful practice, personal performance, productivity, cooperative cooperation within team and organizational climate, according to that own company's KPIs, had all improved. So we see that the data really shows a significant reduction in burnout, especially now people burning out. We know that because it's a stressful time. We're going to talk about that. But really improvements in mindfulness and their ability to deal with themselves. So a little bit about me before we jump a little bit more into the program. The details are not as important right now because we want to keep moving. But in my life, I was very, very, very successful. And I hit my wall and I lost almost everything. The software company I founded, but even more significantly, I lost my sense of self, my sense of purpose. It really started me on a journey which took me to India, all over the world, to build my skill set, but more importantly, find out the core concepts. What are the things that people really need to be successful with mindfulness? Really taking my approach as a CEO and like, what can we do that's going to be adopted, that's not too crazy for a lot of people, that will fit a corporate world, and actually it's easy to put in place and actually will make significant changes into the person's life. So in today's presentation, we're going to go over 4 quadrants. One I call the shift, why the Reset Mindfulness Program, the workshop itself, and really talking kind of a summary and talking about a little more of the structure of the program and bringing it into your company. So first off, the shift. we all know 2020, we don't need to hear it again about the shift. But here's an amazing stat. 31% of people are reporting significantly, not just a little anxiety, but significantly high levels of anxiety, so that they're having trouble sleeping even more so. They're having panic attacks. 31% is a huge, significant, huge amount. And, it could actually will increase as time goes. Unfortunately, with post-traumatic stress disorder, is the longer we're in a stressful situation, the more that increases and the harder it is to bring us back into normal. So again, that's why as soon as possible, we want to really bring mindfulness in. And this is kind of like part of my life's purpose is, to step up during this time and, in my own little humble way, to be able to help people that are really going through it. And even if you're not going through it, you're going through something, you're feeling something. And you really want to be put back into flow. So there's a lot of things happening. We all know this: personal and family health risk, economical insecurity, constant negative reinforcements from the media, or not from the media. It's not really the media's fault, it's about our consumption of it all the time. Really just, it adds up, and our subconscious doesn't know the difference between truth and fiction. So no matter if we believe it or not, no matter what's going on, the more we take in, the more, it creates the perfect storm for us and really creates that traumatic experience for us. And also the unknown time horizon. So it's really going to we're going to jump into it really thing, but I really want to talk about this, experience that I had this recently. I changed his name, but this gentleman I know, we call him Chad, where anxiety really was, even though he was coping well, executive, really doing well, but it really was impacting his life. He was, to a certain extent, he had some mindful skills. He was, kind of an LA person, whatever that is. But Chad was doing some things like guided meditation, which unfortunately, if I'm gonna be really honest, is good in the moment, but we won't go into all the reasons, but you're projecting versus going inward. So it doesn't really, guided meditation, unfortunately, doesn't really help, with anxiety for long-term to really start to bring that down. You need to go inward. There's a number of different meditations that be more effective. He was going for walks, which is awesome for it, but also even his meditative practice, he was just doing it haphazardly. It's a very subtle thing with meditation, and where you need to have it, you can do less, but you need to do it more often. So where I get really excited is that just bring a couple little core building blocks, not try and teach everything, but a couple key building blocks, and having people create, an ongoing, practice around that is where, you really are going to have the rubber meets the road where you're really going to get effective programs. So we're going to go really quickly through, some of the reasons why, it's a killer program, the Reset Mindful program. The reason being is we don't take one philosophy. Again, I travel around the world to find a solution that I couldn't find for myself. And this is based in Eastern philosophy, Western cognitive science, and really, again, is team building. And again, what's working in the corporate world, again, from my background as CEO, is bringing that all together into the corporate environment. So we bring many different things: breath work, group meditation, mindful connection. Mindful connection is really important these days because we are, creating our own little tribes. Team sharing circles, mindful education, and also most importantly is media to support home mindful practices. So whenever we spend time with your team, they've got the information that they can consume on their own time, and start to create their own home experience if that's in there in something they want to do. And the team itself is what we do is we keep it 16. So maximum 16. We can go a little larger, a little smaller is even better. So we want to create that intimacy. You want to create that bonding experience, that excitement around your team. They do get excited. I'm telling you, they get excited about having this opportunity. You think it's like for some people, you get a couple of people, but you'd be surprised how many people are looking for this and looking for the building blocks because they're getting something here, something here, something here. They're not getting understanding about how to move into a mindfulness practice. So, building strong teams, we kind of know that, especially from the stats we talked about earlier. So I took the workshop and just took some key elements out of it. So I just made it smaller so we can go through a little quicker. So this is the PDF that everyone that goes through the program that will receive, really talk about, having their own mindful toolbox, removing their success blockers, the law of attraction. And then we actually get into it. So this is the fundamentals. So this is the PDF for the fundamentals. So really kind of, again, we do a little education to keep it really high level, but we stand up and we get right into it. So we get right into it, and the top left is actually the 5 minutes that we do as a group. I go the basics of each of the breath movements, and we actually do 5 minutes of amazing breath work together. And the great thing again too is this breath work is afterwards. They've got all the PDF to go through, but they also got all the media also that they consume and do it with in the morning if they want to have a morning practice with that. Again, is with then we move into meditation. And what I love, the three keys to meditation, things that are not being told. What's the difference between different levels of meditation, and what that means and what that will do for them, and really broken down. And quite honestly, I've never seen anyone break it down really simply to the different types of meditation and how they work. We go into why having a consistent meditation program is important, and how it actually builds what's happening in your brain, and through MRIs and studies, and the neural cortex growth and connections, and when that happens and why it's important. People need the why behind it. So it's the education also, what's happening behind, the building habits, consistency. This is kind of my third thing that you see on your bottom left is my favorite, is that no one can be a bad meditator. Every time if your brain's going a million different ways, every time you bring it back, you actually exercise that muscle. So the more your mind's going everywhere, so the more quote unquote bad meditator you are, actually the better the workout you're getting, more the gym workout. So we go into a little more detail about that. So I hate when people say I'm a bad meditator, can't do it. I'm like, this is the most important thing for you. I never thought I would do this. I never thought I would teach this. The last thing, I was that high driving CEO. But I digress. So again, all the media around it. So again, is really teaching them through it, and the media around it. The mindful connection, 3 key things they can really bring into everything. It's simple. It's things we forget. It really keys in. I've tested this a lot with some of my mindful workers, and they love it. And again, it's about, looking for that golden thread, that connection that connects us, having forgiveness for ourselves and others. There's just so many little concepts we talk about as a group. We actually in this series, and we can go back to this in a little more detail. Then we have a brief sharing circle. again, it's the fundamentals, just we get a taste of it that we can expand into the series about, kind of sharing our experience of what we're going through. And lastly, let's just talk about, how the program works in a corporate environment. So the workshop, Mindful Fundamentals, is again what we talked about. It's 1 hour. We get them all together live, on Zoom or on Google. It's recorded, so it's really important. So if someone misses it, or if you're a new employee, you can actually just give them the recording so that they can just jump onto the series with the rest of the group. It's easy to book, easy to cancel, again, on demand, and all the material around it. And for the people who watch this presentation, if you use that code, it'll be half price for you for $197. So then we work into the series. So after the fundamentals is, again, creating that practice. You can book it. It's easy to book, easy to cancel, on demand, whenever you want it. For Book a 10, it's $19.85. And that's just when we start really being really effective with the group. And this is it. And let's connect, let's talk. Let's see if we're a fit in your corporation. So everyone have an amazing afternoon. Please reach out for any reason, and bless.